Hey guys, Lisa Meekum here, and I thought with back to school just around the corner, we would make this awesome faux leather and real leather laptop bag. Now I'm gonna walk you through how to work with these different materials, how to add magnetic clasps to it. We're also gonna add some pockets and make it the perfect size for your specific laptop and notebooks. So let's get started. For this tutorial, we'll be working with both real leather and faux suede. The main body of the bag is going to be faux suede because it comes pre-lined and is less expensive. The first step is you're going to lay your laptop out on your faux suede and then use a ruler to make straight lines using tailor's chalk on all sides around your bag. Make sure you leave about 3/4 of an inch to a full inch on either end. Once you have everything outlined, then it's time to cut. Be sure you use sharp scissors and make sure that you're also cutting about 1/2 inch outside of your chalk lines. This will leave you a nice seam allowance to work with. Now that the basic shape of our bag is made, it's time to make more pieces. So we're going to use this as a template and just line it up on top of another piece of faux suede and cut it out. This will leave us with 2 identical pieces. Now I've gone ahead here and cut a little rectangle out of real leather using the length measurement that we got before. And I'm just going to sew basic stitches down vertically to make little pockets. Next, I am going to play around with this little scrap of deer hide that I have and come up with a cool design where I like the look of the flap on our laptop bag. You can have the flap of your bag fall anywhere you like. However, with a laptop bag in particular, I prefer to have it falling over my pocket so that way there's kind of a lid on them and things don't fall out as easy. And then when I put my magnetic clasps in there, then it's not going to be rubbing up against my laptop at all. Once you have the basic shape that you like, just use that top edge as a guide and trim it out. Set your flap off to the side and let's secure this pocket. When you're working with leather and faux leather, be sure that you use binder clips or quilting clips instead of sewing pins, because every time you put a needle in your fabric, that's going to be permanent. Then I'm going to use a grid ruler and take out my tailor's chalk and kind of play around and see what size pockets and how many I want along this edge. Once those lines are traced, you're just going to use a straight stitch using a little bit wider stitch length to make those pockets permanent. Next, we get to move on to the flap. We're going to use a similar method where we're going to be pinning the right sides together and using quilting clips or binder clips to hold everything in place. Then we're going to sew that top edge at about 1/2 inch seam allowance using an upholstery needle and a slightly wider stitch length. To finish the top of my seam off, I actually just finger pressed my seam allowance down and then top stitched over again. It just made it look a little bit more pretty. Now we're going to take our other pattern piece and we're just going to finger press, meaning just using your fingers to hold it all in place. Get that top edge down and then use quilting clips to hold it in place for sewing. From here, you'll be able to see that the 2 pattern pieces that you have are beginning to take shape. Now it's time to put them together to create the main body of your bag. Do this by lining them up with the right sides together and then adjusting your quilting clips so that they're running all the way down the 3 sides. We're going to sew along these edges. Whenever you're sewing both leather and faux leather and suede, be sure you use a leather or upholstery needle and a walking foot. You'll also want to lengthen your stitch length to about 3.5 or 4. Be sure that you're using either upholstery or heavy-duty thread. This will make your project a lot more secure. Once your bag is done, we're going to trim the edges really close to those threads, but making sure you don't actually clip the threads. So that way when you flip your bag right side out, you have some really nice crisp corners. Our bag is really starting to take shape and it's looking really awesome, but we still need to add some magnetic clasps to the front so that way that front flap stays down. To do this, we're just going to get a basic kit of magnetic clasps. You can pick these up on Amazon, I'll include a link below, or at almost any craft store. The way that these clasps work is there's two little metal prongs that are holding a small metal disc onto the back side. So all you need to do is just open that up, remove the small metal disc, and then line it up on your bag wherever you like. I'm going to use some small scissors to make really little cuts just so that those little metal prongs can poke through before I slide that metal disc back over, and then I'm going to bend those prongs out to the side to hold everything in place. Using some jewelry pliers will come in extra handy for this step. Now that we have one magnetic clasp done, see how pretty it is? Now we just need to do it again so that there's two on the front edge before we start moving to the other pieces that hook inside them. To get the coordinating magnetic clasps to line up the way that we want on your laptop bag, all I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to one side and see where it falls on the bag. Then I'm going to cut my small slits into my bag so that I can slide the clasp right in there. This will make sure that when the flap closes, it falls naturally in line with those clasps. We're going to use the exact same process installing them, where we cut little slits, slide those metal prongs through, put the disc over the prongs, and then use some pliers to extend them out to the side. The smoother you can get those little prongs to stick out to the side, the more comfortable your pocket's going to be. Now that our magnetic clasps are installed, our bag looks really awesome, but those front edges can look a little bit ugly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some old earrings that I think are really beautiful, but I really never wear because they're a little bit heavy, and I'm just going to use some jewelry pliers to trim off the little loop on the top where the fish hook slides in. And I'm going to recycle these to cover up those magnetic clasps and give my bag a really cool edge. All I'm going to do is use some E6000 glue and put a small amount on the back edge of that earring and then attach it over that clasp. This adhesive is really strong, so make sure that you use it in a well-ventilated room, open a window or something, and also give it a few hours to really set. But this bond is definitely going to be permanent. Once your glue is dry, your new leather laptop bag is complete. I love how the pockets turned out. They're the perfect size to hold my journal and pens, and I love, love, love how well this bag fits my brand new MacBook. I really hope you guys love this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching.